Genetics. What are you trying to say about genetics?
No, I'm just saying
that sounds a bit, you know.
No, I'm saying.
I have what it. No.
You have what it takes.
No, sorry.
I love the confidence.
I
love the confidence. I like confidence.
Of course, but
I'm confident too.
I knew what I was getting myself
into. But you know,
into,
in terms of the failures, I didn't know what it
person,
took. I actually had to fail at 2 other agencies. One of the agencies I worked for fired me in 4 weeks. I wasn't a good enough salesperson.
You're one in a million that can
I'm
come
one in a million.
back
That's
from
very
that.
kind of you to say.
Of course, you're not listening to my statement.
Yeah.
Jail cell.
Yeah, I think it's an expensive jail cell. Like Diddy's probably in an expensive jail cell. Shout out to Diddy. You know? Was under 25. If they've already made $1 million under 25, they probably have some level of mental illness. Being an entrepreneur is often a trauma response.
Yeah, and entrepreneurs, they do this misrepresentation of what it takes to be one.
Absolutely.
Because you do not document that side of your life.
You're dopamine driven. You're high dopamine.
Yeah. So, and
did you know high dopamine people tend to cheat on their partners a lot? You said yes. Be careful. Be careful.
Okay.
Be careful. I don't agree with you on that, man. I know I'm Nigerian, but I don't agree with you on that.
Wait, hold on a minute. But
I think we're actually on the same page. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yep, so I'm Dami Okudara. I'm a 26-year-old entrepreneur in Melbourne, Australia. I run a multi-7-figure agency in Australia. We have around 100 clients across multiple countries and 70 staff across Ghana, Eastern Europe, Philippines, South America, and Australia. And today I'm going to be debating people from all walks of life, whether it's corporate, university students, or people that are even aspiring entrepreneurs. And I can't wait to disagree with some people. Let's get it.
Having a 9-to-5 job is just a safer form to failure.
Sure. Well, I think first and foremost, having a 9-to-5 job is not a safer form of failure for most people, but I think for people that do have any appetite for freedom and freedom that they can find within their own means, I think a 9-to-5 is a expensive way to stay in a jail cell. By the way, my name is Dami. What's your name? Peter, nice to meet you.
So, I mean, I think we can start off with some points of agreement. Definitely a 9-to-5 isn't for everybody.
Agreed.
And there are people who are extremely ambitious that aren't going to be thriving in a 9-to-5 in the way that they could be if they engage in some type of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
Such as yourself. And me personally, a 9-to-5 isn't something that I could do.
Really?
But, yeah.
You couldn't do a 9-to-5?
No, I don't
I've
think
done multiple 9-to-5s.
Have you?
Yeah. And I actually enjoyed working in corporate. It was hard.
Yeah.
But the skills I got from 9-to-5s allowed me to actually start my own business properly. I actually quit 2 corporate jobs twice and failed both times. One of the times I was nearly hospitalized from getting so sick because I tried to balance starting my own business and I failed. But the third time I started my own business, because of the skills I learned from 9-to-5, I was able to stand on my own 2 feet. So I just simply think, just to be clear, that 9-to-5 is great for a lot of people, but if you have any risk tolerance, I don't think it's the right path.
Interesting. So yeah, I guess those were just the points of agreement. It's not something for me. Perhaps it's not something for you at the moment. But so I think we would agree then that for a lot of people, precisely because there are so many factors that are out of your control that play a role in the type of career you're going to be able to end up pursuing. There are economic factors, the financial circumstances you were born into, which you don't have control over. There are a lot of psychological factors, whether it could even be genetic. It could be...
What's wrong with genetics? What are you trying to say about genetics?
No, I'm just saying...
That sounds a bit, you know...
I'm saying it could be the case that people have certain genetic predispositions to have certain types
do you
of...
have? Because are you a fan of eugenics? Are you trying to... Eugenics is touchy, especially on YouTube. That's a bit of...
No, I'm just like listing the factors that could prevent somebody from pursuing certain types of career paths that other people could pursue. In terms of like health, like both mental health and physical health, which could have some genetic factors.
Do you think you should be doing entrepreneurship or you should be working for a 9-to-5?
Me personally?
You personally?
Not 9-to-5.
Okay, you gotta prove my point then, because you have risk tolerance. You're someone with high testosterone. You're obviously a very skillful, verbal person. That means you can do entrepreneurship because you have a risk tolerance aspect.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't, and I think if they do have risk tolerance, then they should start their own business. So I actually think you agree with me that people should do their own business if they're capable of doing it. So I don't think we disagree.
Well, there are some points of agreement, and I'd say for me personally, I would probably feel like that would be the type of career that would be desirable for me. But I just came on here to defend the average person. But then, if you're going to say that for a lot of people, then this is fine.
But what do you mean by average person as well? Because you're talking average in terms of...
Yeah, and let's go. 3. Yes.
I'm going to shake your hand, by the way. You did fantastic. Peter, you're a legend.
2. Someone get there. 1. Let's get in.
Oh my god. Okay.
Dami,
Hi,
nice to meet you.
I'm Ashani. But yeah, I think a 9 to 5 is actually okay. I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and I'm going to say
so. Devil's
that,
advocate means you actually agree with me then, like you're just trying to disagree.
Oh my god, is that what that means?
That's unfortunately what it means.
So
you know?
funny. No, so
you're advocating for the devil, which I don't think you want to do. That's a bit weird.
Okay, so I'm going to disagree with you, and I'm going to say why.
What do you disagree with me about?
So I disagree with the fact that 9 to 5 is like a slow way to.
Yeah, be in a jail
death.
cell.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't say death. That's
Sorry,
quite grim.
be in your jail cell.
Yeah, I think it's an expensive jail cell. Like Diddy's probably in an expensive jail cell. Shout out to Diddy. You know?
But no, the reason I wanted to say that 9 to 5 works is because I guess if you look at it from a perspective of if everyone is having your mindset and not wanting.
What mindset do I have? Just so we're on the same
being
page.
an entrepreneur or an
entrepreneur that worked multiple 9 to 5s though.
Well, true, but at this
and got the skills from the 9 to 5s.
At this current moment, you're not.
That's true.
So if everyone is of that mindset where at some point in their career, like you have, wants to not pursue a 9 to 5 and do something else, it almost makes you think, 9 to 5 is where majority of the corporations are running at the moment. So there's multiple employees. There's like up to like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 employees. So it's like if everyone has that mindset, then who's going to be running these big corporations?
That's a really good question.
Help us run some of the things that need to go around in the world.
Absolutely.
So
I think we actually agree. I actually agree. And sorry to just cut you off. When it comes to people working for others, not everyone can be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I mean, did you know that most entrepreneurs under 25, if they've already made $1 million under 25, they probably have some level of mental illness. Being an entrepreneur is often a trauma response.
Yeah.
Right? Not everyone needs trauma. I mean, I think if we all didn't have to if we could be rich without trauma, I think that would be preferred. But I do think that a lot of people don't take the risk. We are in an internet era. AI is taking over. We have Claude.
Yeah.
I think it's naive to not try.
Yeah.
When a lot of us have already gone to university. I used to study law and commerce. I broke my parents' hearts at Deakin while playing basketball at Melbourne University. Like, my son's going to be a lawyer. I'm Nigerian first. And then I said, no, mum and dad, I want to start my own marketing company.
Yeah. So in saying that, I guess where the win-win could be, where I guess you could win in both situations would be if you're able to dabble into both. So you have that
dabble into both 9 to 5 and dabble into entrepreneurship.
Yeah. So you can
I think
do
it's
it
actually
at the same time.
I actually think we're in agreement. I think it's about sequencing. So I think if you're under 30, you should definitely try a business 100%. And if it succeeds, you should leave the 9 to 5. Here's why: you're going to learn a bunch of skills that can allow you to be hireable in any 9 to 5.
What makes you think you can't do both at the same time?
I did both at the same time. I'm not saying you can do both at the same time.
So why would you have to leave one to do the other?
That's why I said sequencing is important.
Okay.
So
I
for
think
example,
you should do it
if
at
you're
the same
18,
time and
I
have
respect that.
both eggs in
But do you know
both
what they
baskets.
say? A person that chases 2 rabbits catches none. So at one point, you do have to cut the cord with one thing. What perspective? Maybe you share a perspective that I can't see at the moment.
Yeah, probably. But I think from my experience, I can say that you can do both.
Do you think you can run an 8-figure company with still working for a 9 to 5?
I think you can make 8 figures in total. So
okay, but would you prefer to make 8 figures in total, 8 figures a year?
8 figures is 8 figures.
So you wouldn't prefer to make 10 million a year?
I'm happy with money either way.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 30.
Okay, imagine if you're making 10 million a year at 30. That's pretty cool, isn't it? I mean, what's your favorite car? I mean, imagine you in your favorite car at 30 years old driving it because you made 10 million a year.
But I think the way I look at it is everybody's different, like you
absolutely, everyone's different.
So if you're different,
I hope you haven't been through the trauma that made you make $10 million a year at 30. I mean, that's probably not a very attractive trauma that you want.
Then how you operate is different too. So if somebody finds the entrepreneurship lifestyle too hard, it's too much pressure, it's too much to put, and there's not enough support, their lifestyle might not support that, they might not have friends and family, they might not have.
But let me ask you a question, aren't you an entrepreneur?
I am, but I'm also someone that works.
We have a few flags up.
Cool.
You did great. You did really good.
You do the countdown. 3. Oh, you can leave.
Oh, cool.
I put it on. You good?
What's going on, man? What's your name?
Any.
Dami. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Okay.
So the question was, a 9 to 5 is a safer way of keeping yourself in a jail cell.
Do you want to repeat the statement? Yeah. Everyone's hearing my jail cell statement. I'm trying to get TikTok to hate me again. That was fun.
A 9 to 5 job is just a safer form of failing.
I would like for you to define failing.
Good question. Failure is not living the life you want.
If that is true, I think there's many people that have failed, even the people that are successful as you.
Absolutely. I wouldn't even define myself as successful, to be clear.
So would you put yourself in the same category as someone who's working out 9 to 5?
Actually, yes. Because I'm working a 9 to 5 for my own business. That's even why when it comes to terminology, it's very dangerous when people demonize 9 to 5. Because especially post-COVID, everyone's working remotely. So you're working 9 to 5 remotely, you're really working 2 or 3 really solid hours. And then drinking coffee and going to the bathroom 5 times a day. I wouldn't say that's 9 to 5. But as someone who also pre-COVID did go into an office in Melbourne CBD at 20, 21 years old with 30-year-olds that are trying to steal a spot and had to show up sleep deprived every day to make it happen, I am not saying that 9 to 5 isn't good. But I'm saying if you're under 30, you should look into entrepreneurship because the opportunity is there. That's why I'm saying that for many people, not most, but many, it is a expensive, prettily designed jail cell because many people never gave it the chance, and they will go back in life and think of what if, not what was.
Do you think that it is more tailored for the individual if they go into a 9-to-5 or not? I think if someone is doing a 9-to-5 and they are enjoying what they do,
they should keep doing it. Not everyone's built for entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is very stressful. This morning, I thought I was going to go to the gym. I had a 40-minute call. Someone complained he wanted to cancel a contract, and I talked them out of it, and I had to sweat, and then I showered, and then I'm talking to you on this content
so if
piece,
someone's
you know?
living the life that they want in their 9-to-5, let's say their passion was to be a teacher, does that mean they're a failure?
Absolutely
Or that they're
not.
living in it?
Absolutely not. But if they were a teacher and they wanted to explore music, and they get to 80 years old and they never got to explore music, I don't think that they would say they failed, but I think they would have regret. And I think regret is the sister or the cousin of failure. I don't live with regret. I can tell you
so
that.
is it regret or failure that we're trying to... Because you're saying you're demonizing...
Well,
people-
the statement was failure. I never
Okay.
said that you're a failure if you're doing a 9-to-5. I was doing 9-to-5s till I was 2 or 3 years ago while still growing my company on the side, which is why it's good to be able to do both, but it's sequential. Eventually, you need to jump if your business is growing. And that jump is the scariest thing to do. Let me ask you, do you want to be an entrepreneur? Do you start your own business?
I'm not opposed to it, yeah.
You're not opposed to it. What do you want to do? What kind of business? Let's put the business aside. What kind of money do you want to make?
Money that will substantiate me and my family.
What does that mean to you? What's that number? If you could define it, or if you could give a range.
I don't think it would be quantified in income. I think it would be quantified in...
Oh, so it could be $1.
No, I think it...
But you said it couldn't be quantified in income.
By a certain
Okay,
income.
$10. Or by a certain income.
Yeah, I think it'd be in assets, in what my passion does and what that money brings.
But you
in.
said you wanted to substantiate your family?
Yeah.
Okay, so how can you substantiate your family? Like assets, that could be a car and a house.
Those assets can make me money.
Okay, but to buy those assets, you're going to need income.
But I don't know how much that income would be. For
And I respect
me
that
to have
honesty.
instant stuff.
If you could guess, what kind of range do you think that could be? Just checking out guesses. We don't know everything. We're young, you know.
I think maybe 500K.
500K.
300, actually 500 is a lot.
500's a lot.
300-400.
Amazing. Did you know that only 4% of Australian businesses make even over $1 million a year revenue, not even profit?
Okay.
So even you trying to make 500K a year, the likelihood that you're going to make 500K a year is either going to have to give 25 years, maybe to a corporation, or you could start your own business, fail 10 times, and by the 10th time you have a $500,000 a year profit business. That's why I agree with you. Entrepreneurship's not for everyone, but if you're under 30, like yourself, like both of us, like many of us, or under 40, most of us should give it a good shot, is my opinion.
I'm calling it there.
Fair enough.
That's a great conversation.
Good job.
All right. So you can get in that seat first. 3, 2, 1. There's a bit of politeness in the room as well.
Mohi, lovely to meet you.
Dami, nice to meet you.
Awesome. I do not disagree with the original statement that was made, but I disagree with the points that you have raised.
Absolutely.
So you say everyone under the age of 30 or 40 has to start this.
I think they should try.
Okay.
With all the tools given. Have you used ChatGPT before?
I have.
I love ChatGPT or Claude. What are you, ChatGPT or Claude?
ChatGPT.
Really? Why?
Yes. Easier.
Easier. In what
Yes.
way?
It's a lot more accessible. It's a lot more customizable.
Accessible and customizable. So we're in a generation where you can finally customize the business that you want. You can ask ChatGPT for 10 different business ideas and you can pick one. We've never had such unprecedented access to opportunity.
I understand.
But I'd love to hear your opinion.
Of course, but throughout the rest of your statement, you mentioned failure means not being able to do what you want to.
I say going to bed with regret. Regret.
Okay, that's failure.
Yeah.
And what's
It's
that
closer
regret?
to failure. It's
Where
like
does-
it's not like a twin, but it's like a cousin.
Where
of
does that
failure.
regret come from? Not being able to do what you want to do?
I think regret comes from not trying.
Okay. So, and then how about doing the activities that you wanted to do? You woke up this morning, you
I
wanted to go
did.
to the gym, but
Yes,
because
sir.
of a business, because you are a business owner,
Absolutely.
you did not have that freedom.
And because I'm a business owner, after this, I'm going to take 2 calls, drop off my homie Peter, and still go to the gym.
Of course.
So that's also accessibility, and that's
I
also
understand.
customization. I'm customizing my lifestyle.
With all due respect that I have for you, I think people like yourself that have an online presence
Mm.
and are entrepreneurs, they do this misrepresentation of what it takes to be one. Because
Absolutely.
you do not document that side of your life.
I
So
actually do document it. I've
Do
been
you?
recording videos on YouTube since I was 19 years old.
course. Do you
the different
document-
corporate jobs. You can go on my LinkedIn. You see head of sales at a startup in Sydney. I was an SDR at a company, one of the second fastest growing tech companies in the world back in 2021. And I started from the bottom. I was one of the youngest people at that company.
course.
People tried to get me out of the company.
Sure.
I mean, I'm black in Australia. You can imagine what the story was like.
Yep.
But I also have worked multiple agencies too
Of
that I was
course.
fired from. One that I
Sure.
quit because I thought I was going to get fired.
Yep. Do
So-
you document those dark times, not only the success?
Absolutely. I love talking about the dark times. It's more viral. Absolutely. The good times,
because I
people
haven't
only...
really, as someone who's been following you for the past 12
And I love that you
months,
follow me, by the way. I really
appreciate
respect the
it.
support.
No
I really do.
worries. I have not seen much of that going on.
Maybe
and
I should talk
think
about it more.
Of course, maybe you should talk about it more.
Perhaps.
The fact that you would say anybody under the age of 30 should at least try it.
Absolutely.
I don't agree with that.
Would you try?
because I am doing it at the moment.
So you're trying?
I have my own
So
business.
doesn't that mean you kind of agree with me then
No,
by
I
your
don't,
behavior?
because I am one in a million because I came from entrepreneurial parents. And
I didn't. You see, that's very
See?
interesting.
Of course.
But your parents that also are entrepreneurs, I'm assuming
They
they
are.
didn't use ChatGPT.
They didn't,
Absolutely.
but I knew what it takes.
But you had ChatGPT.
I have what it. No,
You have what it takes.
No, sorry.
I love the
I have
confidence. Hey, I
ChatGPT.
rock with the confidence. I like confidence.
of course, but
I'm
I
confident
knew,
too.
I knew what I was getting myself
But you
into.
know, in terms of the
whereas your
failures, I
average
didn't know what it
person-
took. I actually had to fail at 2 other agencies. One of the agencies I worked for fired me in 4 weeks.
course.
I wasn't a good enough salesperson. Now
You're
I'm a good
one in
enough
a million
salesperson.
that can
I'm one in a
come back
million. That's
from
very
that.
kind of you to say.
Of course, you're not
Really?
listening to my statement.
What's
though.
your statement? Go ahead.
A lot of people cannot recover from the failure. You might have had family.
What do
that
you mean by
could-
that?
So when you quit your 9 to 5, and it's getting to that essentially friction point where you can no longer handle your business while doing a 9 to 5, and you make that jump, so many people actually fail. I was
Absolutely.
that one people, but I had the ability to go back home, rely on my parents, stay with them to get through life.
It sounds like.
Now,
would you please go ahead?
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I
Now,
love
if
the
you're
points you're
giving that
making.
advice, if you're giving that advice to the average person out there with an Australian culture that
Yeah.
doesn't now have the parents to go back to, I feel like you're setting up this generation for
For failure? I love that, especially because the keyword's failure. But let me tell you something. When it comes to the day and age of today's entrepreneurship, you don't have to risk a lot of capital like your parents probably did. If you have a brick and mortar shop to open up a restaurant, you have to take a loan from the
course.
bank. You can start a Shopify business with $500.
That's right.
Or you can start an agency like me with $0. I had
So-
$0, just skill and effort. I had what we call sweat equity.
Sure.
And sweat equity was the skills that I learned from corporate, that I learned from how to sell. And I would make 1,000 calls a week at 19, 20, door knock, not understanding how to even sell. I didn't even have the name of the agency.
know.
And I didn't get my first client till 90 days afterwards. And then I got my first client, and now the rest is history.
10 minutes later,
So you don't
10
have
minutes
to.
before. Sorry. Thank you.
I love it. No, you're a G.
Sure.
So, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, Dami.
What's your name?
My name is Caleb.
Caleb.
Caleb, yeah.
Dami, nice to meet you.
Hi,
Are you
Dami.
Nepalese? Where you from?
Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Yeah.
Much respect.
So, I'm not trying to debate. We know that this is the last person to actually debate for you.
For this
but now,
round.
this is the chance for you to actually prove me if I would one day change to entrepreneur. So,
Okay.
I'm still 20 years old, international
20.
student.
Respect.
I pay everything by myself.
Respect.
Pay my rent, pay my bills, my uni, everything.
I love it.
And until this day, what kept me going was the money from my 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
It's not a full-time job, it's a part-time job. I worked as a chef back then
I
at the
love it.
airport. After working as chef, I went to the MCG, Melbourne Cricket Ground. I worked as a part-time stalker as well. So being a part-time job, being there was actually giving me the money to actually pay my bills, my uni fees, and having a girlfriend now as well. Sometimes I had to pay her like
Bro
something
has
else.
Riz. Respect.
That's
man.
why.
Has Riz. I
Well,
like that. Yeah.
So now I'm trying to ask you, like, being an entrepreneur, you said that below 30 you should start somewhere, but
In
how can I
particular below 30,
Yeah,
but
but
even
how can
below
I
40.
how can I start somewhere if
ChatGPT.
all the money hold on.
I will hook this conversation to say the second statement, which is you should prioritize making money over passion in your 20s. And this is exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm connecting.
All right.
Sure.
Do you think maybe we should say that question because you said the first one?
Should you prioritize passion over money in your 20s?
No, money over passion.
Should you prioritize money over passion in your 20s?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So should I stick with that?
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
I'll tie it together.
So what I was saying again, like when I have like all of my bills like sorted out, everything, you know, I'm a computer science student.
Nice.
So I have everything sorted. I put my money bills over here, over here, over here. Sometimes I give money back to my family as well
Good,
in Indonesia. So sometimes I don't even have like money for myself.
Yep.
I cook every day, don't even like have fun. So I'm trying to ask you, how can I start my entrepreneur?
Absolutely.
And I
First of
believe
all-
that there's many international students like me.
Yes.
So
By the way, congrats on your hustle. And I say that genuinely because it is difficult being an international student to come here and make a name for yourself
Yep.
in a country like Australia.
Yep.
It is hard. And I don't want to give the false narrative that it is easy. My journey wasn't easy.
Yep.
And I was born in Fiji Island, 1999, came here in 2000. Okay, so you being an international student that's come here, when did you come here? At 18, 19?
19.
19. That's tough.
Yeah,
But do you use ChatGPT?
I do.
Okay.
I use Claude. Claude's way better.
Use Claude.
Claude's way
Claude is
better.
pretty good.
Yeah,
My
computer
editor
science
likes
student, you
Claude.
know, help me with my code
High
as well.
IQ and has Riz, man. This
Yeah.
guy has it all, man. I like him. So look, the simple thing you got to do is go to Claude, literally ask it, give me 10 different business ideas based on
Yep.
the skill sets that I have.
Yep.
You can start an agency with the skill sets that you have. I didn't even know how to run Facebook ads and I was trying to sell social media at 19. Actually, I started when you're thinking of starting.
All right.
The difference between me and you was I just started and it
Alright.
took years and I still worked corporate.
Yep.
I've probably been fired from more corporate jobs
Yep.
than most people in this room.
Yep.
So if I can do it with no handouts, no help, with parents that were crying, right? Then you can do it being someone that has access to the internet. I started pre-ChatGPT. You have ChatGPT. Start with $0. Start developing your communication skills. You're already a good communicator. The more people you talk to, the more money you can
But
make.
let's say I do start it and I put money on it.
Why put money on it?
Because sometimes I have to start somewhere. Because
I'm not even saying put money on it.
That's the thing with me. Once I go with something, I put all out. You
Well,
know.
that's a limiting belief. You can go all out. But what I'm saying is you can go all out without spending money.
So you say I can do it without spending money, but I spend my time doing it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Sweat equity.
But that's the thing. I go to uni. I
Absolutely.
still have my part-time jobs.
I love
So the
that.
thing is that you say spending time.
Do you mind if I ask you a question? How many
100%.
hours a week do you work?
Sorry.
How many hours a week with all your different jobs?
I would always go to work for like 7 to 8 hours.
Seven,
Yeah.
so 7 to 8 hours a day,
Yep.
or 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
7 to 8 hours a day.
Okay, what do you do with the rest of the hours of the day?
Uni.
Uni. Okay,
Yep.
great. How many hours a day do you study uni?
That's the thing. I only go like Monday to Wednesday, but full
Okay.
day from 7
Amazing.
to 7.
Respect. What about the other days of the week? How many hours are free in those days?
Saturday I do nothing. Sunday I go to church. That's it.
I love it. I go to church too, by
Yeah.
the way. God bless
God
you.
bless you, bro.
Okay, amen.
Yeah.
So listen, when it comes to Saturday, okay, why don't you just use that day to learn about a new business
Because on
model?
Saturday I had to like revise everything I did on uni.
Okay.
I had to revise all the things I did at work.
Okay.
Because at work
Do you go to the bathroom every day?
I do
Okay. Do you shower every day?
Yeah.
Great. How many times a day?
every day.
Amazing. So when it comes to, there is times that you can still fit in other patterns, right?
Yeah.
You can go to the shower every day, even if you're busy with uni. You can go to the bathroom every day. Those two activities in and of itself, if you shower at the average speed and go to the bathroom at the average speed with someone, that's at least 30 to 45 minutes a day. If you can find 45 minutes a day to learn one new skill every day, I can guarantee you within 12 months, you can at least have a skill that you can use in a business.
All right then.
If that fails, you can come back to me and
I'll
let
put
me
words
know.
on it there. I'll put
Okay.
your words on it then.
Okay. Welcome.
Do not take a shower from now on.
Hi, I'm back.
Nice to see you again.
Priya.
Priya, Dami, nice to meet you.
Yeah, so I disagree with that statement. I think work 9 to 5 is really important. Like you say, like starting a marketing agency with no money, yes, you can do it, but then like if everyone started a marketing business, then there would be like other businesses people would need to start as well,
Yep.
which you would need to put in money for, which can come from your 9 to 5, especially for international students as well, having a student debt which has interest as well.
Yep.
Paying all your bills off and not having the support as well to start a business, you need to have some funds to keep you going. Like when you're making that move or going into entrepreneurship, you need to have backup that you can make it and like run your business successfully. And if you need to invest more money, you can do that as well while running, like say you're doing marketing, but I have a business that needs marketing, so I would need like a marketing team to do that for me and market out my business to make it more promotable. So I think like being young,
If you don't mind if I cut in, I do think that the statement was actually about in your 20s, should you prioritize making money over passion? So right now, is what you're doing aligned with your passion, or you're just doing it to make money?
I think like I am doing it for my passion in the future.
What's your
But-
passion in the future, if you don't mind me asking?
My passion in the future is to be a fashion designer
Okay, amazing.
and have my own business as
One
well.
of my clients, sorry, actually, this is a plug. One of my clients, K Couture, is hosting a fashion show in Melbourne next month. So if you want, I can get you on the list.
Yes, that would be great.
I swear to God. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, great. So we agree. Great.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I do think money is still like what's important for me today, because even in the future, in
So
10
we
years,
agree that making money in your 20s is the priority over passion then? Because you're talking
Yeah.
about your passion in the future. I love
Yeah.
fashion as well. You can't tell because I'm very lazy with my clothes, but
No.
I like fashion as well. But
Yeah.
that's the future. Right now you're focused on making money because of the HECS and the student bills and everything else,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
I think we're actually on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Good job. I think, okay. Bel, can you do BTS? Huh?
You know me?
Sean, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. So about that statement, I actually quite disagree with that.
Okay. So you focus on passion over money
Yeah.
in your 20s?
Yes,
Wow.
that's very much correctly. So first of all, I would like to know where you stand in that statement. Like, what do you
Yeah,
think
I
about that
actually
statement?
think you should focus on money. I'm pretty firm on this one in the 20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can I know your background? Like, Nigerian?
Absolutely. Yeah, so Nigerian, born in Fiji, 1999, born on an island to amazing parents. They brought me here in 2000. My little brother was also born in country Victoria. So we lived in country Victoria, Colac and Ballarat for a period of time. Came back to Melbourne and yeah, been in Melbourne ever since. In terms of passions that I had, I was actually quite insecure. When I was in year 6, year 7, I was a bit overweight. I wasn't obese, but I was a bit overweight. And I started playing basketball. Basketball was my passion. And I wanted to actually make it with basketball. And I used basketball to go from nearly fat to borderline anorexic within a year and a half. So I tend to have some extreme tendencies, but I ended up using basketball to develop discipline. And basketball is actually what led me to entrepreneurship, because at 17 years old, when I was watching TED Talks, I was like, if I can make enough money, then I can afford a shooting machine, because Kobe Bryant was making 1,000 shots a day. And I was like, if I can make 1,000 shots a day, I can make the NBA. Okay. So I outworked everyone. And I'm going to finish the story, then I want to hear your point. Okay. And then I ended up in the States playing in LA and Sacramento. And I was like, wow, the world is crazy. I need to make more money. And that's when I realized into my mid-20s that at the end of the day, you have to pick in life. If you chase two things, you can't catch either. And I had to pick between basketball and money. And that was one of the hardest decisions I had to make as a young man. And I picked money.
Okay. So my next question for you is like, with the start of your mentality, the money mentality,
Sure.
I have to make more money than pick passion, right?
Yeah.
This all started because of your passion. So would you think,
Yes,
would you
sir.
say like chasing your passion first at a very young age is going to develop and lead you to the point where it's like, oh, maybe when I chase this to the point where I'm like very comfortable in doing it and I have comfort and confidence in myself, I can actually turn my passion into business that makes me much more revenue than I would ever imagine.
Absolutely. So I like the way you think, and I thought the same way. And I do think some people pull it off, but I'm also a stats guy. Right? So did you know that I don't know if the stat's still the same, but this is 2020 to 2021, 70% of people that study a certain thing in university end up working in a different field. 70%, 7 out of 10 people here will end up working in a different field than to what they studied. So now let's talk about passions. Now, basketball wise, I went overseas. Right? I had D2 offers. I didn't have D1 offers. I wanted to play D1. I wasn't good enough. But I had D2 offers. I had D3 offers. I had D3 interests. I had JUCO interests, right? I did the thing. I've met high-level basketball players. But for me, right, I realized I could make more money with my own business. The average NBL player, and I'm not saying this to gloat, this is just the reality, the salary of an average NBL player, I was making in corporate salary at 22. So I had to have a very real conversation with myself. And I was like, I would not be satisfied with NBL. I'd only be satisfied with MBA. And if I'm only satisfied with MBA, then I have to give up all of my business ventures, all of the passions that I have, because we're human. We have multi-passions. That's another trap that people fall into. The thing you're passionate about, how old are you?
19.
At 19. Brother, the thing you're passionate about right now probably could, maybe not, could change by 25 when you're my age, 25, 26.
I mean, my passion is both sports and trading. So I'm a day trader as of right now.
Absolutely. So you woke up one day and you're like, I'm just so passionate about the charts and the RSI indicator.
It didn't really start like that.
Is that what happened? You just got super passionate about indicators?
No, it didn't really start like that.
And the war of fluctuating markets? You sound a bit of a psychopath, bro. What's going on, man?
So the reason why I'm passionate about day trading was because I got really bored in class when I was in year 10, actually, and just found this chart. I just found this chart, right? I was just like doing whatever I wanted on it, like figures go up, like candles go up, I see money, candles go down, I lose
You're
money.
dopamine driven, you're high dopamine.
Yeah. So and
did you know high dopamine people tend to cheat on their partners a lot? You said yes. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. I don't agree with you on that, man. I know I'm Nigerian, but I don't agree with you on that.
Wait, hold on a minute. That's not true. But so what I'm trying to say is that my passion for day trading started when I was bored, but then I then figured that late, say like 2 years ago.
Okay.
I figured that this thing I have passion doing because I had fun day trading, right?
You had fun, okay.
Yeah, fun in class when studying, when I was supposed to do work, when I go home to do homework, I always found time to just do this thing that I didn't really understand. But as soon as I started to understand it, right, get a little bit of concept and idea about it, right? Till 2 years ago, till last year, I actually started looking into it and I found out I could make money from my passion. So one of the things that will really inconvenience me in life is if I want to choose money over passion and put myself in a place or a situation where I'm very much uncomfortable to be I'm still making money. Say I'm making like 2 M's a year, right? But I'm very uncomfortable doing it. Whereas, right, my goal in life is to have enough money, as you said, to have enough money to take care of my friends, my family, and myself, right? But then that goal as well, like how much M's or how much, like
very
what's the
good
amount
question.
of money?
Extremely good question.
What's the amount of money you need to actually take care of? Some people is like 50K a year, like 50K a year, they're very comfortable taking care of themselves.
I actually think we're in
200K
agreement, my friend. If you don't mind me agreeing with you, do you mind if I agree with you?
No, yeah, you can agree with me.
Because I like to agree with people.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so when it comes to sequencing, call it there. That's okay.
We're going to bring next person in. You've got 3
Good effort, Sean.
Thank you.
And after, we can guide whenever you like, but the next question actually kind of ties back to what you're saying. University
university is a waste of time for most people, but you can get your disagreement out.
For the previous question.
Sure.
Okay, so yeah, I just want to start off by saying, obviously in our 20s and even 30s, we shouldn't be financially irresponsible. But when I hear terms like
I actually don't agree with that.
Okay, well, yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. But
I'll hear
just
you
quickly,
first.
yeah. So when I hear a term like prioritize, that to me seems to imply that you're supposed to be making sacrifices for this. And when it comes to the sacrifices, I think there has to be a limit, precisely because in your 20s, that's when you're at your youngest, you're most physically capable.
Absolutely.
Your social relationships begin to flourish as you finish from high school, move on to university, and then move on into the workforce.
Absolutely.
So,
and to agree with you, did you know between the ages of 25 to 35 is when your brain has the most ability to cognitively adapt to new ideas and principles. So your brain
Exactly.
forms the fastest when you're in, 5, 7, 8 years old. But in terms of you being the most aggressive psychologically, it's been 25 to 35, which is why most people should start a business when they're sub 40, not just because I'm a health guru or a business guru. It's because even at a primal level, your brain is most ready to give that kind of risk the most ample time at that age. But go ahead, perhaps we'll agree
So,
more.
yeah, I was going to ask you then, if we're supposed to be prioritizing money over passion in our 20s, when exactly is the time for passion? Is it in our 60s or 70s when we're old and
Fantastic
frail and we're unable to be able to engage in the types of activities we could have when we were younger?
Well, it
I
depends
think
on
it's
your
all
passion.
about balance.
If you're trying to play in the NBA at 60, it might not work.
Exactly.
Me personally, I don't want to injure myself. Already had enough injuries, right? But if your passion is music, you might be able to do that at 30 or 40. For example, Jay-Z, he made his splur in the music career when he was 26, 27, 28. Now that's not old by any means, but that's a lot older than many contemporaries, for example, like Drake that started on Degrassi. Now my question to you would be, what would your passion be?
My passion, I have a passion for content creation.
Absolutely.
I have a passion for engaging in political commentary.
Yeah, and you're very good at that.
I appreciate
I've
that.
seen some of your content.
I appreciate that. And you're very good at doing what you do as well.
I try my best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, when
I love how much we agree, man. We agree on a lot of things.
I like to find points of agreement.
And in
as
terms
well,
of content, if you don't mind me asking, do you survive off your content at the moment?
At the moment, I do.
Wow, so you fully live off your content.
Yeah.
Amazing. How long did that take you to do that?
A couple of years.
A couple of
Yeah.
years. How many years, just roughly
Yeah,
speaking?
so it started in like 2022.
Amazing. So you actually are just like me. You started a business young and it
Right.
worked, and now you're surviving off your business.
Right, but I would say that I'm not the type of person to sacrifice my passions to the point where I'm going to be not going out at all, not trying to engage in social relationships, have a social life, doing things that I really don't want to do just so I can make an extra buck.
Oh, I
And
agree
that-
with
yeah.
you. You should only sacrifice what is aligned with the goal that you're in right now. So, for example, my goal right now in my 30s, or my 20s rather, I'm 26, why did I say 30s? But around my 20s is to build a corporate empire. But my goal in my 30s, and whoever mentioned fashion, is actually to explore a lot of creative industries. Things like Quasar are passion businesses of mine. They're fun, but I would 1,000,000%, and I hate to say this on camera, but if I had to pause Quasar for 5 years to grow my agency to 100 million by the time I'm 28, I absolutely would. So
But you're
there is a
passionate about that.
My agency, it didn't start as a passion. I didn't wake up one day thinking, I'm going to learn how to, do retargeting ads and have clients yell at me. What I said is, look, I'm going to quit basketball because I need to really get my money sorted out. I was 21 years old, living on a broken bed in Melbourne CBD, rebelling against my parents. And I was like, I need to figure this out. I'd failed twice. I didn't want to fail a third time, and I made it happen. And I'm fortunate that the third time it worked. But if I had to do it 7 times, I would. And I think you're much the same as I, because you found a business that ended up working for you young. But you know what you had to do? You had to try. I'm assuming that at 11 years old, you weren't like, I want to be a content creator on Instagram. Instagram wasn't even out at 2011. There's other things that you're probably interested in, like maybe you're interested in being a movie star, but I don't, and I could be wrong, I don't think you're Dwayne.
No, that's
Johnson?
right. I mean, I
No?
always kind of thought that something like YouTube or content, obviously not TikTok, but
Yeah.
content creation would be a viable option for me. But this is where I think the main point is going to be. I don't think we should be, at least when we're talking about ideally, what the ideal advice would be for somebody in their 20s, to juxtapose money making and passion and in such
You're
a way
right.
where they come into a tension with one another.
I agree.
Ideally, we would want to be able to make money off our passion. And we
Agreed.
only make money to be able to live in accordance with our passions, because that money gives us a financial freedom to do so.
I agree with
We
you.
prioritize passion even when we're chasing money, because
Do you
we're
think
chasing
that you're
money
lucky though, because
to
you've prioritized
enhance our
something?
lives.
I agree with you, but do you think you've picked a passion that just happens to have been successful for you? I mean, I'm not as lucky as you. I wish I could have survived off basketball. Fantastic job. That was a brilliant argument.
We've got 3 flags. The race is on. I mean, 3, 2, you just go.
What's your name? Oh,
My name is Alicia.
Dami, nice to meet you.
Nice to
Oh, sorry, yep, go ahead.
Reiterate that if we want to, I don't know how important it is to get through those questions for you, Dan, but we are going to get onto that university thing.
Easy. Yeah, you do your thing.
So let's that's up
We'll do that one after Alicia.
just after this. You'll bring it in.
Yep.
Oh,
We'll do the next statement after, so you can respond to the prior statement
Okay, the prior statement.
or whatever. Which one are you comfortable? Yeah.
And just on that microphone.
Okay. I wanted to argue for the next statement actually.
Let's do the next statement. Even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring the microphone.
Say it again. It is university is a waste of time for most people.
University is a waste of time for most people. So I'll just quickly share my opinion. I think in this era, university is a waste of time for most people. And my parents are going to watch this and they're probably going to talk to me tomorrow. But that is my honest belief. Over to you.
I hear you. But what happens to the person that's feeling lost and has no vision on how they're going to retain that information, even though we've got ChatGPT, we've got resources like YouTube, but even after retaining that information, you still can't take actions towards it because you don't know what kind of actions to take towards.
Absolutely. Good argument.
Good
And that's a very sensible one. A lot of people do need structure. Even if you look at the schooling system, you know, people check in at 8:50. There's something called associative anchors. So have you seen Hannah Montana? You get the best of, you know, so like when that song comes on, you're like, okay, it's time to like see Miley become Hannah and Hannah. It's crazy, right? It's the same with school. The school bell goes off. It's time to go to lesson 1. Then it's snack time. Then it's lunch. And then it's the end of the day music. And you're like, thank God, the end of the day. And you go home and you walk home and you take the bus. It's the same with university. But the thing is, what most people don't realize is everything is patterned in life. You can pick and create new patterns if you are intentional. Most people aren't intentional. That's why systems create spaces for people to have patterns, because most humans aren't self-reliant. That's where I agree with you. Where I disagree is that we are in a generation where you don't have to spend $100,000 in debt, but you can spend, and I'm not even a course seller, by the way, just making that clear on YouTube, I'm not a course seller. You can buy a course for $5,000 to learn something about marketing, about sales, about business, where you can actually get actionable advice and you can hire a mentor. I'm a fan of mentorship, not university. A mentor can keep you accountable. You don't have to spend $100,000 for a good mentor. That's my opinion.
Okay, so even if I don't go for a mentor, even if I go for a diploma, let's say, but I'm using that information, I've got free time to then build my business because I have done that. So I believe that freedom of being self-reliant through a university holds you accountable, and it allows you to be successful in your own time.
So you're interesting. So would you say that university leads to people becoming more successful, or people that are self-learned tend to be more successful? And I just want to hear your opinion. What's your opinion on that?
I believe that university gives you, helps you learn facts, rather than sometimes the internet can have false information.
Interesting. So you don't think that, you know, university information can be outdated, especially with the advancement of AI?
Could be outdated, but at least it's still factual.
It's factual. What deems factual?
That it's correct.
Because a professor that hasn't done business is teaching someone finance, they're factual because they have glasses and they speak in front of 300 people.
No,
well, we already have people that do that on
they've done backed
YouTube.
up research.
Research. Where does the research come from? Probably ChatGPT, peer-reviewed articles, which you can find on ChatGPT. Good argument.
Oh, she's already on. Forget the 3, 2, 1. Hold it, get there.
And microphone.
Please.
It's not. Yeah, I'm too short.
So good, so good.
Well, I think.
Welcome back.
Well, thank you.
Always welcome back.
Thanks. I think university is important because, like, such as doctors and like qualified people such as construction, they need licenses, which is created by the system.
Yes,
that
agreed.
you need to get a university qualification. I don't think it's like necessary that you need to go to university to get those.
No, so we're on the same page.
Yeah, so we're on the same page, but I think like some people, like without learning it from like work environments and getting a job, they do go towards getting a license, like in construction or like a doctorate, to further like enhance their education, so they are able to like have a doctor's like licensed operation running. See, like someone who doesn't study like to become a doctor, they're not allowed to give legal information on like what medication to take, which is where like natural medication comes in. So a doctor wouldn't give you advice on natural medication because they're not licensed to. They're only licensed to give you medication advice that's like created by the system, which is chemicals.
Absolutely.
So,
and I'll actually agree with you. Just to be clear, out of our 100+ clients, we have our biggest pod in our agency, because we're a group, is actually healthcare. So we have a lot of NDIS clients that are good and are bad, as you guys can imagine. We have a lot of telehealth clinics. We have GPs. We've had dental clinics. I agree with you. There are some professions that do require licenses from the system. However, especially with the way the world is evolving, those licenses are becoming less and less valuable. I talk to employers every day professionally for a living, and when they're hiring other Gen Z people like yourself and I, a lot of them aren't looking at whether they studied at Melbourne or Monash. They're looking at, is this person competent? COVID has not completely, but has definitely skewed the market towards competence and skill set instead of university titles, because a lot of people that actually did go to university are really, really good at, and I hate to say this because I also went to Deakin University, right, at Burwood. They're really, really good at talking, not doing. And that's what university also teaches you to do, which is to think within a system, not out of a box. And out of a box thinking is how you create new solutions, even in the medical industry, as someone with medical clients.
Yeah, I think I agree as well. Just to put it out there, I think like even getting work experience in my, like, as I do a job, like before, I think when I was studying accounting, I think it did set me up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think going into the work environment, I also gained experience more working around in the corporate world, which led me to becoming better at my job than someone who would spend 5 to 7 years at university, and then when they get out, they would still be entry level at my job.
Yeah.
But working that time, I've just made it in.
And the respect for you to doing that. And I also did the same thing. When I was starting at university, I was studying commerce and law. And I remember they were like, marketing, blue means trust and green means go. I'm like, bro, like Macca's means yellow, which means hungry. Like,
and it's not
like,
necessary information that you really need.
Not necessarily, it's not applicable. And I can literally just say, ChatGPT, what color should I make my logo? And it will tell me why.
Yeah.
You know, so I actually think the university... And it will give, I agree. Go ahead. I agree with what you were going to say.
Yeah, it'll give you good information, like what works, what's popular. Yeah.
I mean, I think so.
I think I agree, yeah.
Always good to agree with you.
Thanks.
Welcome back.
Thank you. And they've got a relevant university degree. Somebody who practices law, they've got a relevant university degree, and somebody who practices accounting, and they have a relevant university degree. That's Group A. Group B, you've got somebody who practices medicine, but they don't have a relevant university degree. Somebody who practices law, and they don't have a relevant university degree, and somebody who practices accounting, and they don't have a relevant university degree. If that's all you know about those two groups of people, when you need a doctor, a lawyer, or an accountant, which group are you going to pick from?
But if you're in the top 10%, again, you're a high IQ guy, man. You're a high IQ. You do political commentary on TikTok.